Hi there, my name is Dr. Nicola Dellinger, and I wanted to hop on and talk about what's happening in our collective energy because I know it's certainly happening in my personal life, but I've also seen a ton of clients over the past couple of weeks who are moving through such big, giant, life transforming stuff that I wanted to know if this is happening for you. You are not alone. And I consulted some friends of mine, including this energy worker named Jennifer Rowe, who's going to be joining our practice at Pura Vida, yay, in January. But really, there's a lot of planetary alignments that have been moving through to kind of set us up to cleave the old patterns that no longer serve us. My personal experience is that some of these things that are sloughing off are things that I'm actually still really attached to on an ego mind level. Not ego in the sense of braggart kind of thing, but ego meaning kind of who we think we are and the mind part of ourselves. And so my mind is really still very attached to these stories and beliefs and patterns and roles that I identify with, and they are being stripped away in such a huge way right now that it's really, honestly, at times has taken my breath away, literally, because I am being forced or being invited in by the powers that be to really slow down and make space for a tremendous amount of what feels honestly like grief and loss, and requires a tremendous amount of quiet time and inner work for me, around really all of my skills and resources that I have going on right now in order to simply be with the emotions and the experiences that are coming through, and not try to jump into the do mode or the problem solving mode, which can certainly be my MO. And I know it's a lot of us share that part of ourselves that wants to kind of push and manage and do and solve. And so really, what I want you to invite into, especially as we're coming into literally the darkest days of the season, it's this deep invitation for us to slow down and create more white space and allow ourselves to have these big emotional releases if we allow them to move through the system. And not only that, can we really ground in ourselves and not look outside of ourselves for advice or guidance or an explanation, for what's going on? Because honestly, what's happening, at least in my experience and the experience of my patients, is that what's occurring is really beyond the mind. And so the suffering that's being created from these cataclysmic shifts in our consciousness are actually where the suffering is coming from, the resistance to being with what's here. I don't want this. This is not how this is supposed to be. I can't even tell you the paradigm shifts that I'm facing around my my identity and my roles. And certainly, I got a doctorate, and so I identify as a doctor. That's been falling away for quite some time now, that ego connection. But my role as mother, I felt like that was a pretty universal archetype. Nope, discovering that there's a whole new way to do that. As a partner, as friend, as a caretaker, what that means and how I can really show up for the loved ones in my world, both my patients and my friends and family, and really hold space in a much larger way and really resist that temptation of offering advice or really problem solving. And so the more I allow myself to inhabit my space, to really fully allow myself to have every single inch of the experience that I'm having, even if the mind is judging it as wrong, bad, not okay, uncomfortable, not what I wanted, doesn't make any sense. If I can just breathe, and honestly, the breath has been the most powerful tool that I have accessed throughout this time. The breath and quiet is allows us to really fully inhabit and embrace our experience, and then it's much more easy to give everyone else permission to do the exact same thing, which is follow their own path and have whatever they're having without us leaning out of our own center in order to create a different experience for the people that we are present to that might be suffering in a huge way. So I wanted to share this affirmation that came from Moon Omens, which is an astrological site. This is a quote from Lucas Notes. This is the mantra or the affirmation for December of 2021. And I'm going to read it 3 times so that you can hear it and then breathe it in and then really receive the power that comes in this. And then if you want to use this for yourself, please feel free. The message is, this month is filled with opportunities to completely recreate and reinvent myself. I am ready for massive changes that are taking place in my life. I'm ready for the new unknown chapter in my life. This month is filled with opportunities to completely recreate and reinvent myself. I am ready for massive changes that are taking place in my life. I'm ready for the new unknown chapter of my life. This month is filled with opportunities to completely recreate and reinvent myself. I am ready for massive changes that are taking place in my life. I'm ready for the new unknown chapter of my life. So may it be. So there's a little tool for you, or powerful tool of affirmation, really breathing into the belly. And when you don't know what to do, and there's been plenty of moments in the past number of weeks where my mind has not known, literally, I don't know what to do here. If we can just relax that grip just a little and assure that mind part of ourselves, it's okay that you don't know what to do. The answers are coming. How do I get more present? How do I pay more attention? How do I get more still? How do I deepen my breath? And if you can practice this, then you'll go through whatever you are facing much, much more gracefully as we move closer towards the solstice and then into the new year, where there's a lot of potential for creation coming your way just around the corner. Thanks so much for joining me. I'm really excited, and I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.